Hello, I'm Todd,
I'm Brandy.
and we are back in the United States after spending 2 fun-filled weeks in Nice, France, looking for an apartment. And we've come up with 5 things that we wish we had known before we went apartment hunting in Nice. Specifically, what sort of things we would like to have known before we went. What would have made this easier on us? Now, we're going to tell you about our experience. We know that experiences vary over individuals, but these are the sorts of things, these are the sorts of things that we ran into that we wish we would have had more information about up front.
So, the 5 things we wish we would have known for our apartment journey are number one, it's hard to find a furnished apartment. We thought we would land on the ground, only see furnished apartments, be able to travel back to Nice with just a couple of suitcases and start our lives. And that was not the case. We actually, over our 2 weeks, didn't see any apartments that were furnished, even though that was one of our number one requests, because there just wasn't anything available. And then one of the things that was hard for us to make the jump, the mental leap about getting an unfurnished apartment, is sometimes those unfurnished apartments don't have any kitchens. And so not only are you buying furniture, you also may be buying a refrigerator and a stove and a microwave.
Yep.
But what I wasn't prepared for is that they also don't come with light fixtures. I mean, here in the US, everything that's attached to the wall or the ceiling stays with the apartment as it gets rented. But there, they can even take the light fixtures. So
Yep.
that was just a little too hard to get over on the first tour. But one of the reasons there aren't more places that are rented is because it's a lot easier to rent, especially in a city like Nice that's so touristy, to rent those out as Airbnbs. So the furnished apartments tend to get leased as Airbnbs for short term, and a longer term lease tends to be unfurnished.
Number 2, we were told that we would have to move fast because the market was moving fast. We had no idea what fast meant. We were working on the assumption, frankly, based on watching way too many episodes of House Hunters International, that we would take a few days and we would see a lot of apartments and then we'd get to make a decision, right? If you've watched House Hunters International, what they see 3 different apartments and they're wearing the same clothes, so it looks like they're seeing these all on the same day, and then they get to make a decision. Nah, it doesn't work that way. We were there for 2 weeks. We saw 2 apartments. We took the second one that we saw, right? There just isn't a lot of inventory, and things just move so quickly. Apartments are listed, and then they rent within a day or two. So some of the ones that we wanted to see, by the time we got around to thinking about them, they were already rented. Some experts will tell you that you need to plan on 6 weeks to find a place. Yeah, that's true, but it can happen very quickly, or it can take a very long time because there's just not a lot out there. And once you see something, even if it's close to what you want, you have to take it.
Number 3, a bigger budget is not going to necessarily help you. Now, this was a big surprise to us because in the United States, of course, the bigger your budget, the more options you typically have. We did not find that to be the case in Nice. We went in with a budget of 3,200 euros a month for an apartment, but what we ended up seeing was I think every apartment was in between 2,200 and I think 2,700-ish.
Yeah.
Yes. So there just wasn't anything in a higher price bracket to look at, which ended up being a good thing for us because we're using that extra money now to furnish our apartment. But most apartments there, I think that we looked at, were between 65 square meters and about 70 square meters. There really wasn't a lot outside of that. And the only thing that we saw that was furnished was actually outside of our budget at 3,500.
It was it was very nice, but it was in the wrong part of town, and that was very expensive. Kind of gets us on to the 4th thing that we wish we had known. Although I don't know that this would have really changed anything that we did. But we did find out that there was much more inventory for buying than for renting. That is, there were lots of options to buy at lots of different price points. But even then, 2 bedroom, 2 full baths were almost, well, they were almost non-existent in the rental market. We were able to find one. You are more likely to find something like that if you are buying, but in most cases you were going to have to do some upgrading yourself. These were not going to be places that you could move right into. And we really hadn't planned to buy anyway. And maybe we will at some point in the future. But it's going to take some time if we were going to buy to find something that we would really like, because we're going to have to upgrade.
Yeah, we're going to have to do some major renovations. And from what we understand and the people we've talked to, renovating in France is not for the faint of heart. And finally, number 5, don't try this on your own. There's no MLS system. The agents, of course, speak French. We don't speak French yet. I guess we could have done it. It would have taken a lot more time. It would have been a lot of heartache and headache. And we'd really recommend, if you are looking to lease a place in Nice, really find an agent who speaks English, who's familiar with Americans, who can work with you. We loved our agent. She did an amazing job for us. She helped us understand the areas. She was really dogged in finding places for us to look at. And in addition to that, she helped us set up our electricity. She helped us set up our internet. So it was a full service package. And we are ready then to head back to Nice in a few weeks and get started with our life there. But really recommend hiring somebody to help you with this process. It's really going to help it make it go much smoother.
Thank you so much for continuing on this journey with us. We are due back in France in, 19 days now?
19 days.
That's right. So you can expect to hear from us within about 3 weeks, and we'll let you know how things go once we get all settled. Thanks for being a part of the journey. Bye.
Bye.